Back to Yahoo Finance Live on this Monday morning, and all morning long, the top trending ticker on the Yahoo Finance platform has, of course, been Twitter, on news that Elon Musk will not be joining the company's board. And Emily, I have to highlight a pretty funny note, but helpful note, as always, from friend of the show, Dan Ives over at Wedbush. He's saying he says there's a new Game of Thrones battle between Musk and Twitter. That is now he is characterizing this. He, of course, covers Tesla and Musk extensively, but he comes up with a potential couple good scenarios here for investors to consider. First, he thinks maybe Musk joins up with a private equity partner and forces major strategic changes at Twitter and or a sale. Next up, creates more noise and angst for Twitter's board and executives with various proposed platform changes. Or three, Musk perhaps says game over and just sells his stake and goes home. The way I'm thinking about it, Emily, all those three options really suck for current Twitter management.
Well, we'll see if the saga ends up being quite as long as Game of Thrones. It's only been about a week now, really just a week now, since Elon Musk disclosed that stake in Twitter. But I think one thing's for sure here, investors are looking for a way to get Twitter to revitalize its monetization. I mean, if we take a look at how the stock had been performing for the year to date, we look at the year to date through April 1st close, the stock had been down by 9%. April 1st was that last session before Musk disclosed his stake in Twitter, down up about 7% year to date, of course, because of that pop we saw last week. But if we take a look at what's been happening at Twitter, daily active users have actually been accelerating on a sequential basis, but ad revenue has really been slowing down. It was up just 22.4% in the fourth quarter. That compared to 41% in the third quarter and 87% in the second quarter. Now, this, of course, does reflect some COVID and then reopening related distortions, but still shows that flattening out in growth. So one thing's for sure, Musk certainly has stirred up more noise around the platform, certainly catalyzed that stock pop that we saw just a week ago. But we'll see where this goes as this Game of Thrones saga continues, Brian.
Yeah, Dan Ives never at a loss for words here. But I will mention this too, Emily. I think this whole saga that has played over the past week is good news for Snap. So over the past week and a half, I'm sure you have Snap just continuing to remain focused on what it does best, developing in its own product. On the other hand, you have Twitter over here still dealing with slowing growth, now trying to contend with whatever Elon Musk wants to do and perhaps further taking its eye off the ball in reinventing the platform. So Snap the winner here, Twitter the loser.
Yeah, absolutely, Brian. I mean, I think that is a pretty good take on it. You know, if we take a look at how the social media platforms have been trending, of course, as I was talking about, a little bit of a deceleration here in Twitter. We've seen a lot of these others come under pressure as well. Pinterest, all these high growth names. Of course, that does relate as well to the macroeconomic backdrop we have. But we'll see how this plays out, and especially as it comes to the Muskian portion now of Twitter's future going forward.
And of course, we're still watching shares of NEO. Emily, again, another hot ticker on the Yahoo Finance platform this morning. Company halting production because of China-related COVID lockdowns, also jacking up prices. I really do believe these lockdowns in China will be a key story for investors to monitor for the balance of April. But of course, this week it could be impacting operations at a Tesla, China a key market for them. It could be impacting operations for an Apple. It can be impacting the world's supply chain as well here. So a very important situation developing out of China. I will note too, a source familiar with the matter is telling me that Xpeng, a NEO rival, has not halted production. Right now, it seems to be NEO specific.
Yeah, we'll see how that trends here for some of the other EV makers. Now, as you mentioned, Brian, really the lockdowns are one portion of the concern here for NEO, as well as some of these other EV and automakers, legacy automakers as well. But supply chain issues are the big concern. I mean, NEO CEO William Li said that battery prices especially had risen too much this year and that there was no real respite in sight. And of course, this is something that we heard. Really, these are echoes of what we heard from Tesla as well, with Tesla CEO Elon Musk saying that Tesla may start doing its own lithium mining and refining because the price of the metal has gone to insane levels, as Musk put it. So lithium is a key input in batteries as well. So Tesla may be getting into mining. NEO's cutting production and raising prices. Not so great news here for the EV makers starting off the second quarter here, Brian.